Hello, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours FM, episode 117. It is so freaking good to be back with you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm with myself in some sort of echo, which means I should have gotten.
No, you have a tab open. You have a tab open with the show live on another tab.
That's what it is. Hold on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours FM, episode 117, with your host, Carrie Dills, Diane, Kinney, and Rebecca Gill. I'm the commentary, Matt Medeiros. Welcome to the program, everybody.
That was incredible. Thank you, Matt. You know, I don't know why this has to chronically be difficult. I have worked really hard between seasons to beef up my tech, get better with the whole technical experience. It is shocking still that I'm actually in a technical profession if you judge me based on the podcast alone. But without further ado, welcome everyone to season 3 of this podcast. And what I would like to do before we get kicked off is to, and when I mean kicked off, I don't mean kicked off the internet. I mean kicked off the show. I would love to thank our sponsors for this show. Our first sponsor is SEO Bootcamp. Search engine optimization isn't magic. It's not voodoo. Some SEO consultants will make you believe that they alone possess the magical powers to optimize your website. Do not listen to them. With the right education and training, you can own your SEO and see real results. And where do you get this? You get it at SEO Bootcamp, an in-person 3-day hands-on workshop taught by expert Rebecca Gill and hosted by me and Corey Miller. So for more information, you can visit SEObootcamp.com. And I suspect that someone else has a replay of this going on in their browser because I hear a slight echo. Gill, I'm accusing you. Okay. That's okay. Okay. We all make mistakes. Oh, man. Okay, it's good to be back. So let me tell you who I've got with me tonight. There's some faces that you recognize if you've been around the podcast already, because they are all previous guests of Office Hours FM. We have got, starting over on the left, or at least my left, Diane Kinney. Hello, Diane.
Hello.
We've got Matt Medeiros, the cheese between the Diane and Rebecca bread sandwich.
Hi.
And then we've got Rebecca Gill over on the far right. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello.
It is lovely to see you guys back. Okay, so here is the story, Morning Glory, for those of you who are listening live. I'm so glad that you're joining us. There are a couple ways you can participate in the show. One is over on Twitter. You can use the hashtag OfficeFM or tweet to Office Hours FM, and we'll get your questions there. The other way is our new Slack channel. And if you're not already a part of the Slack channel, head over to my.officehours.fm. You can get an instant invite, and we'll get you going on that. So let's see. Jackie says, "Oh dear, video just stopped." Jackie, I don't want that to only be. I don't want to wish you any ills on the video, but I do hope that that's just you, because goodness knows I've had enough technology trouble so far. So you guys, let's just kind of go. And by the way, the agenda for tonight is nothing but just catching up, having some fun, visiting, shooting the bull, both in business and WordPress. So let's go around the virtual room and just kind of share what everybody has been up to, bring us up to speed. So Diane, we'll start with you.
Well, busy times. We, as everybody probably knows, Carrie and I are writing a book, Real World Freelancing, which is a big project. So that's been keeping us busy. We just did a big update of the site at realworldfreelancing.com that shows kind of what the book is about and some of the packages that we'll be offering. And then in general, after a weird and slow summer, life is very quickly gotten very busy again, which is good, albeit exhausting.
Well, I see that you've had time to do your hair, and it looks really nice.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I chopped it all off since our last podcast meeting, so
There you go.
there you
Change.
go.
Changes. There could be a lot of song tonight. Matt, since I've last had you on the podcast, you have gone and not personally, but your family has birthed a baby. So congratulations to you and your lovely bride. Is there even anything else going on, or is that just...
That is about it. You spawn a human being into the world, and it is the only thing that you take care of and focus on. For the last 4 months, it's been fun. Great time. Otherwise, doing stuff with season 4 of Matt Report just launched last week, and launched a new channel over on YouTube, youtube.com/plugintut, which is a tutorial-based podcast / typical tutorial YouTube channel. But we're having some fun over there as well. That's all I got.
All right. I do have a question for you. Season 4 of the Matt Report podcast.
Yes.
Which I have been enjoying, but
Sure.
I meant to tell you this pre-show, but I'm just going to go ahead and call you out here on the live podcast. Only the first episode of season 4 is available on iTunes. The rest you actually have to go to mattreport.com. Is that intentional?
That is intentional.
Well, alrighty then. I just wanted you to know that when I'm running around with my iPhone, I can't download you on iTunes.
That's correct. So you
can go to SoundCloud though.
Right. The intent is you can go to mattreport.com/season4 and get some, you can download it there. But also if I upload them all to iTunes, the only notification you would have received was the last episode to go up. So it would not be as user-friendly in that sense. And it allows me to do a little bit more promotion, get my sponsors some more eyeballs that way, and still slowly drip out one episode every week. And your sponsor, Beaver Builder, is going out tomorrow on iTunes.
Awesome. I was just going to say, I don't want to talk about your sponsors because I don't want them to overshadow my sponsors. But if we're sharing sponsors, then you can talk about them all day long.
It's why I didn't say Pagely and Valet as the sponsors.
Wow. I'm totally submitting him an invoice, or you an invoice directly after this. Well, Rebecca Gill over on the other side of that sandwich, bring us up to speed. What are you doing up there in Michigan?
I've been doing some WordCamps and a lot of SEO and some custom stuff, and kind of the same old thing for me.
I know you're just kind of being,
we got the boot camp thing. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Got the boot camp coming in a couple months. Oh, and I'm doing a bunch of SEO webinars for Liquid Web and iThemes. Forgot about those.
Free.
I can see my self-promotion and marketing lessons have been very effective with this group.
I'm sorry. It's evening and I'm trying to be humble. Apparently too humble.
Yeah, don't be too humble. When there are things that are worthy to brag about, feel free to brag. So if anybody's interested in SEO, Rebecca's got a whole load of free webinars going on over at iThemes. Click on their training tab. And then also the SEO Bootcamp coming up, which was our sponsor earlier in the show. So let's get rolling. I think people are complaining, or not complaining. They're saying there is some issue with the video, but apparently if you switch over to Chrome browser, that's a little better experience for some folks. So, whew. Oh my gosh, guys. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about the business scene, or should we talk about some WordPress gossip? This whole nighttime podcast thing, I don't know if we should get into hashtag WP drama or just skip it.
Do it.
So to maybe or maybe not quote someone on this panel that I saw in a Slack channel the other day regarding the whole Wix GPL thing, she said, "I don't know about you, but I do not care. I do not care. I do not give a flying squirrel's fart about what is going on with Wix, WordPress, and the GPL. Is that for the person who didn't say that, or even if the person, feel free to speak up. But some thoughts on that. I'd love to see some thoughts over in the Slack channel too. Matt, let's hear from you.
I think that was me.
It was you.
I thought it was me. Yeah, I just think that whole topic is, super boring. I mean, it's a thing, right? So they didn't attribute their license, and they should have attributed their license. And, I think Matt Mullenweg was probably right to bring that to people's attention. I'm not sure we need to talk about it for 3 days, really. I mean, it just, I found the tediousness kind of boring.
You know what, though? It's first this whoa whammo from Matt with this big blog post. And then the second day you see this response from the Wix CEO, and it's ooh, it's going down. But then you, as the story unfolds, it's well, really, you clearly didn't answer the original concerns or issues that Matt brought up about the GPL. It was sort of everybody thought it was a throwdown, but I don't think it was a throwdown.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why I was a little disappointed. If you're going to throw down, you should throw down. Not just, hey, bro, want to have a cup of coffee? I mean, that's really,
Matt, I see you itching to chime in.
Listen, I mean, I would say that, of course, one, it's Matt Mullenweg saying this and blogging about it nonetheless, and not even just one of his typical 3 or 4 sentence posts. It's, I mean, he kind of went into a good lengthy story there. To me, I agree with Diane. Look, if you're gonna spend time on this, this reminds me of the thesis thing all over again, where it's I got $100,000 to buy a domain. Look at me. And I figure, look, if you're going to spend time somewhere else, right? If you're going to really be, the leader of our great software. But that being said, in my own crazy theoretical opinions, it's quite a testament to see that Matt might be looking at Wix being you're coming after our pie. So, I'm going to take a little bit of a stance on this. And, to me, it's kind of a wave in that direction of we're a little afraid of Wix. I mean, it's like Slack putting out a full page ad in the New York Times today in response to Microsoft's Slack competitor, sort of telling Microsoft it's not going to be easy doing this. Welcome to the club. It's got a little bit of bravado there that I don't think that Slack should take against Microsoft, one of the longest and oldest software companies in the world. Interesting that they would do that. So, I think, yes, I don't care about the GPL thing, not at that level. I don't need to see 2 CEOs bickering about stuff like that unless they blatantly ripped it off. But to me, in my mind, it's something where Matt's looking at Wix they're putting money into it, they're advertising it more. It's starting to take away from the branding. And that being said, I noticed that on my YouTube channel, if I have ads running on my videos, it's always Wix.
Always.
It's always Wix.
Mine too.
And the day after he posted that, Matt Mullenweg, I had a video run of Matt promoting .blog. And it was the only video I've ever seen. They're obviously not spending a lot of money, as much as Wix is, to get that role running. But it was just fun. It was just funnily enough, the day after, I see Matt doing a .blog promotion, in that same sort of flair, like you need a blog, this is the best place to do it. Just like Wix says, you need a website, and that's how it starts every single time.
Y'all remember
kind of interesting.
The Calvin and Hobbes cartoon of
Yes.
the 90s, and even still now I see these decals on the back of cars that's got Calvin pissing on the other so if you're driving a Ford, he's peeing on the Chevy logo, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
It feels a little bit like that. I mean, not that I want to see a cartoon of Matt peeing on the Wix logo, but if anybody wanted to.
The thing that's kind of interesting about it is if if you take a step back, and you think about, I guess, more conventional PR and marketing, Wix just had a massive security breach, which probably would be more of a cause for public concern on people's part than a GPL violation. So it might be time to think about, if you're wanting to take a position. So in the GPL violation, I mean, one of the things that Matt said, he came and chatted a little bit and posted out of Slack, and he was like, but it's Wix, it's our like huge, kind of competitor, basically. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm not looking at what he said exactly, but there was definitely an undertone that, this, we need to be strong here because this is Wix, who potentially is eating away at our user base.
But only we understand the GPL. The average
That's exactly
has no clue what the GPL is, nor does the average person on WordPress.com running a blog. That's Greek to them. So the whole
So pay attention to the fact that there was this big security breach, or that Wix sucks, or one of the many other issues, that create a competitive advantage for WordPress over Wix. Like just pick something that's meaningful to people, because the GPL is not the horse to ride.
I mean, I'm glad he is aware of it and he's following it, and Automatic is obviously involved in things. I'm glad about that. But to me, who sells primarily custom sites to mid-market, they don't care about that, right? It's completely irrelevant to them and their decision, and they're not going to go Wix anyways. I mean, for me, that is not my competitor. That's other people's competitors. It's not my competitor. So I'm not going to get caught up in all that drama, because it isn't having an effect on me, and it's probably not going to.
Right, exactly.
One of the things, and even the security stuff, as much as security things hit the news, like Panama Papers, or whatever, that affair dating website, whatever, these crazy things, it still doesn't matter to them. And Wix, and I'm talking about the general user, like probably somebody who would sign up for Wix. What do they see? They see Kevin Hart in a commercial during the World Series. I'm sure Wix will run a Super Bowl ad like Squarespace did if the rates aren't insane. Like, these people are going to be marketed to in a way that it's going to appeal to them. And I don't want, and again, nobody has to stake claim to the way I think, that's for sure. But my own crazy thoughts are, look, I'm not going to rally around these scenarios for the sake of GPL, saying that it's going to be the savior of WordPress, when I see platforms like Shopify, Infusionsoft, even Wix, or maybe even Weebly to a degree, that have partnership programs that help me as an integrator or a vendor onboard people into their platforms. I want to start seeing that stuff come out of WordPress. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. It might take years, might never happen. I don't know. But spend effort in not just telling us to get behind this technical jargon and convince people that this is the way to go. Open up some kind of partnership platform to help us implement WordPress in business solutions, like a Shopify. They have a great partnership program. There's a marketplace, and they want to work with integrators with this stuff. That's what I want to see come out of it. And they got VIP. I don't want VIP. I want something that doesn't cost me $40,000 a year. Okay.
Well, what's really interesting is if you look at Drupal, before WordPress, I was a Drupal person. Their foundation and the company, the name escapes me at the moment, but they actually put focus on the marketing of the product. There's a whole effort that happens in not only marketing Drupal to its target customers, but creating tools and messages and things that help implementers, builders, Drupal shops sell into, and it's a different market. It's, I think I would say for the most part, but one of the things that would be nice to see happen in WordPress is a much more, dare I say, commercial, the dirtiest word around, commercial focus, because we are in a completely commercial sphere. It's happening. WordPress.com is a commercial enterprise. We're all involved in commercial enterprises, but there's this strange reluctance to pretend that's not really happening, and that open source means free and we don't get involved in marketing. And, that really, there needs to be a change there, I think.
I agree. 100%.
Do we want to kick this horse anymore or move along?
I'm not done. No, I'm just kidding.
Move along.
Let's move it. For those of you who are joining a little bit later, even though historically the conversation has been just on Twitter over at #OfficeFM, tonight we have the added component of a Slack channel. And if you want to be a part of that, head over to my.officehours.fm. No cost to join. Just give us your email. We'll send you an invite, and you can be participating in that conversation in less than 60 seconds, I bet. Okay. So let's talk WordPress 4.7, which is imminent on the horizon. And Matt, not to pimp your podcast too much, but I actually listened to your interview today with Helen Hulsandi, whose name I probably just totally mispronounced, and your discussion on WordPress core and what it means to be part of a core contributor and a core committer, and chatting a little bit about 4.7. But the big news on the horizon, well, I mean, I guess there's many cool things on the horizon, but a very exciting one is post templates, which for the first time will be available. In the past, it's only been that you could apply a custom template to a page, and now that's available for regular post and any other custom post types. Matt, are you excited about that?
No. What I'm excited about is the 2017 theme. That's what I'm excited about, only because I spend a lot of time in the theme review team and analyzing that process. And that has been, even though I hate the word interesting, that is interesting. And that's really a lot of some of the discussion that Helen and I got into was her tweet storm about selecting a theme, setting up a theme, figuring out how to do all that stuff. 2017 theme is really taking shape to be the first, it's not even taking shape, it is the first business-focused, small business-focused theme at the core of WordPress, right? Where it's all traditionally blogs or even magazine-style themes. Now we're seeing a heavy focus on a business theme. And not only that, a theme that you're building in the customizer, right? Taking huge strides to setting up sections in a theme, and dare I say, almost page builder-ish with some of the mock-ups that I saw the team tweeting out today and on track as well. Mel Choice was tweeting out a almost traditional looking page builder layout for this theme. And that's interesting. Interesting because one, it's going to be at the core of WordPress, but two, there's all so much pushback in the theme review team over the years on complex themes like this. And now this is really going to start to open up the availability of deeper, richer themes, I hope, anyway. But
okay,
hey,
well,
post templates.
Way to take my topic of post templates and completely redirect it. No,
Sorry,
that's cool.
post templates.
Diane, what are you excited for in 4.7?
I'm excited about post templates. So unlike Matt, I write code from time to time. And one of the most exciting things to me in this release is I really have been invested in the idea for a while of designing for content. That's kind of my thing that I really think is the future, right? We're going through this phase where all responsive sites look like boxes, blah, blah, blah. People are bored. And I think the answer to, where we go next isn't so much a focus on like the theme, the overarching look and feel of a site, but designing to the content. And I think post templates are a pretty amazing way to let us do more of that. So I'm excited about it. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Well, that is what she said. And that's after
Carrie.
office hours. All right. Rebecca, do you have anything coming down the pipeline, WordPress feature-wise, or things that you're excited about?
I will be honest that I don't pay a ton of attention to that because the internal team does, and then they just kind of, give me the info. I don't code, and I'm not allowed to touch the code. When I used to touch the code, they would tell me to get out, and now I'm banned. So sadly, I will have to be mute on this topic.
That's all right. We'll loop you in. We've got a couple of questions. Let's see. Shane says, isn't WordPress's strength in being able to make and use plugins and themes? Does Wix and Squarespace do the same? Oh, we're headed back to that topic. Anybody want to jump in on that one? I would just say, again, the strength is relative. Strength as a developer, yes. Strength as a end user, I don't know that
Yeah,
they
I'd say that strengths are for us and consultants and agencies and even the power user. But if you spend any time building a website for people, it becomes some hurdles if they have no idea, right, how to do any of this stuff. And that becomes sort of a bit of an issue or a challenge. But it's definitely, that is one of the advantages for sure. And trust me, I don't like platforms. I wrote a blog post called F Platforms. And I love WordPress. I love the fact that we have the freedoms to do it, to do what we do with WordPress. But, I just think that's not easy for everybody.
It's definitely not. And I think the appeal of Wix, and to some extent, Wix and Squarespace are not the same product, right? Squarespace is a much more sophisticated solution, and a worthy competitor in many ways. I've seen a lot of people in the creative space tend towards Squarespace this year because the experience, you have limitations. There's a set number of themes. There's a set number of limited, type of functionality. It's not world is your oyster. However, what I see people say over and over again is, I put my site together in 2 days, by myself. And then I was done and I was off to working on business. So I think that's kind of where, kind of what Matt was alluding to with 2017 is that's some of where WordPress needs to get to aspirationally. Like there's no sweat, there's no like, oh, what of 1,700 plugins should I choose to make this happen? You just go in and go, like installation profiles. Here's this type of theme. You push a couple buttons and you're there. Choices are made for you. Right now, so many choices.
That's it. Decisions, not options. You don't present people, the end user, with so many choices. You make good decisions on their behalves and then let them focus on the things that they really want to focus on, which is either just a look and feel or how to manage their content, right? They don't really, I just don't think users care for that many choices. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it can't be like they can't have, I don't think people want their website to be a part-time job, right? That's, and that's a big chunk of, you know, you see writers gravitating toward Medium, somebody's taking care of everything. You see creatives gravitating towards Squarespace. Not that WordPress is losing market share, because it isn't, but, you know, the smart move is always to look at these trends. Like, why are people making these decisions? You know, what's compelling them to do this? And, you know, writers want to write. Graphic designers and photographers want to design and take photos. You know, they don't want to be website managers.
I think there's two different types of people. There's the people who build a website because they have to, which is the Wix and the Squarespace and even intro level WordPress. And then you have the people who know it needs to be the center of their marketing activity and it's a living, breathing thing. Those people, the second group, are not going to Wix. They're not going to Squarespace. They're going to go to something more advanced, WordPress or something else. You know, and that's our sweet spot because of the flexibility and everything that all the functionality it offers.
I mean, I've seen so many people. There's a local, not incubator, accelerator group that started up, and there's a lot more sort of entrepreneurs now that are sort of that we're all exposed to now because this new accelerator. And I've seen so many of them start on Wix and Squarespace, two sides of the coin. I've seen so many people start on Wix and Squarespace and try to customize it and end up on WordPress or end up going back to WordPress, right? Because they couldn't customize it, or then they realize that, oh God, I need e-commerce and I need SEO, right? I need to do things with my marketing, with my SEO. And then they spend all that time building on Wix or whatever. And then they go, oh crap, I can't do X, Y, Z. And then they end up going back. But it's a hair pulling experience because they start with WordPress and they're like, this is too much. I can't figure it out. Then they get lured in by a Kevin Hart ad. And they're like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. And then somebody says, so do you have email capture or lead generation for your site? And they're like, oh, do I just install that through Wix? And they go, no, it's just on Wix. And then they go, oh God, I guess that's important. Let me go do that now on WordPress. You know, it's definitely like a pinball machine for a lot of people who aren't fully educated in the beginning.
And then having to try to get something off another platform, painful experience.
Mm-hmm.
So where we've seen the mass exodus in the last month and a half, I would tell you, is HubSpot. I have been flooded with HubSpot leads because if you Google like HubSpot migration to WordPress, we're, I think, at the top of page 1 on Google, been flooded with people wanting to leave HubSpot. But here's the craziest thing. If you, and I had one guy I quoted and he was overseas in Germany, if you pay HubSpot for your yearly fees and you decide to move, you get nothing refunded. So he's stuck there for an entire year again.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're a competitor. It's not just Squarespace and Wix. They're a competitor, and there's mid-market sitting on HubSpot, which blows my mind.
Right, and that's the part of the open source, the GPL, you know, your freedom of owning your content, because these platforms lock you in, and it's like it's no different than Facebook. Recently at one of our meetups, somebody was talking about how, and this one, you'll like this one, Rebecca. Somebody was saying, you know what, I don't even do, and this might be a short-term strategy, I don't even do SEO anymore. And he used to be an SEOer. I don't even do SEO anymore. I just pay for Facebook ads. And it's so cheap for me to just run Facebook ads and drive traffic, which I totally agree, right? This great sort of paid.
But no way is all of his target market sitting on Facebook.
Right. And not only that, this is still a platform. And guess what? One day, a small business owner is going to get a bill. You know, like you get your heating bill in the wintertime and you're like, holy shit, how much heat did I use? You're going to get a Facebook bill for your ads one day and whatever else Facebook does to monetize your page on Facebook and go, oh my God, my Facebook bill this month is ridiculous. It's through the roof. What am I going to do, right? Put your winter coat on and don't turn the heat on. That's what you're going to do. And that's why I think WordPress is very powerful, because we own it and we can do whatever we want right now.
So
let's talk about HubSpot for one more second.
Okay, so one more comment, Diane, and then we're moving it.
Hey, chill. It's after hours.
Gill.
So a really good friend of mine who's a marketing consultant, and her husband is an architect. They bought HubSpot websites. And they spend a lot of money every month, like a shocking amount, and to me anyway. And they can't like do anything with their sites themselves, right? Like they do not have the technical know-how. It's not a no-brainer situation. And so then I'll come across something that might make sense or might help their business, and I'll send them a note, and they're like, can you do this on HubSpot? And I'm like, no, you can't. You cannot do that. You need to let go of the HubSpot. So that is one of the like Rebecca said, that's another piece out there that really needs some education. People buying into that model and the perception. It's another twist because it's not easy, but it's made to seem extremely easy.
Well, that, and they think it's really, really super SEO friendly, and HubSpot's doing all this SEO for them. And virtually every person that's come to me and I've looked at their stuff, that is not the case. I mean, no keyword focus, the stuff's not optimized, the meta is a mess. I mean, it's just, anyways, sorry, Carrie, I violated the rules. No more talk of HubSpot.
Oh no, it's okay. I just
we can move on because I'm sure we're boring people. I want to make sure we get to them.
First, I want to acknowledge a question from Ginger back to when we were talking about post templates, what exactly that means. If you're not familiar with that, envision yourself in the page editor for WordPress, and then over typically on that right-hand side, there's a little panel and you can choose a template. And most of the time it just says default and you probably even ignore it. But a lot of themes come with maybe a landing page template, or a full width template or something like that. And it's basically just a predefined template that says what that page, what format that page will take. So not a post format. So probably I shouldn't have used the word format. But anyways, now that's going to be available for posts, which is pretty cool.
Which includes custom post types.
Yes.
So not just
all types.
Right. So let's say that you added a custom post type to your site that was testimonials. It just became one step easier, to template that. Like custom post type templates were kind of outside the normal flow of the WordPress template hierarchy, and now they're going to be in the flow. So it's something to watch because it's going to be big, I think.
For sure. Before we get going on our next lively topic, for those of you who are joining us partially into the show, thank you so much for joining the live show. You can join the conversation over on Twitter with hashtag OfficeFM or over in our Slack channel. And you can get an invitation to that if you're not there already at my.officehours.fm. And I would love to give a tremendously massive, big hugging thanks to our other sponsor for this evening, which is Beaver Builder. So, gone are the days when you need to go buy a million different WordPress themes for every single site you build. All you need is Beaver Builder. I'm serious. It's more than a page builder. It's a whole design system that works on top of any theme, even Genesis framework, which I love. It's one little delightful package, and you get all the tools that you need to quickly and easily design as many beautiful WordPress sites as you can dream up. One plugin, a bajillion design options. Just last week, Diane Kinney, who you may be familiar with from this show, published a beautiful landing page for realworldfreelancing.com, and that was 100% Beaver Builder. And I'm actually even in the process of redesigning OfficeHours.fm to be 100% Beaver Builder. And that's saying something because I'm extremely picky when it comes to the tools that I'm using to run my business and this podcast. So you can take Beaver Builder for a spin by going to cdills.me/beaverbuild. cdils.me/beaverbuilds. And tell them Carrie Dill sent ya. If any of y'all are like old Pee Wee Herman fans, just know that when I say tell them Carrie Dill sent ya, I'm thinking in my head, tell them Large Marge sent ya. And then like this cartoon thing happens to my eyes and my tongue, which is really freaky. Okay, we will move on.
Weird.
Before I scare any of the children. So a question that was asked earlier, how will 4.7 and the REST API affect consultants? Should it? Will it at this stage? Will it open up the playing field? And how should we prepare? So I'm going to turn over the panel in one sec just to set the stage. It's been almost a year ago since WordCamp US 2015. We first really started talking publicly about the REST API, and Matt said, everybody go learn JavaScript, get your foundationals, your fundamentals down. And not that REST API isn't JavaScript, but anyways, all those things sort of coincided. And I'm going to save my opinion. I'm going to save my opinion. Diane, I bet you have an opinion. I'm going to let you go first.
About the REST API?
Well, just will it affect our day-to-day grind? So Rebecca over at Web Savvy Marketing, building small to mid-sized business solutions. A lot of us here building, small business websites. Like, does it matter? Does it matter to us right now that REST API is being considered for inclusion in WordPress core? Like, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong.
I love the API. I don't know how it works, but I know that if someone says we want to connect blah, blah, blah to WordPress, I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that. We'll just use the API. And somehow magically my team makes it happen. I love it because it has opened up the doors, and especially with mid-market, because it takes fear away from them that they can't integrate into WordPress. That's as much as I know.
Well, no, but you summed it up perfectly in a non-technical standpoint. All you need to know is that WordPress can talk to this other system, and that's now capable.
It opens open source up to the world. That's my view of it, right? And it expands our reach and our target market and who we can provide solutions to, and those can be much more advanced integrated solutions, which I love.
Hashtag open source solutions open to the world.
There you have it.
Rebecca Gills.
I think the REST API is important because it sets the stage for when we think about the markets that we work in as consultants and builders and implementers. It's creating future opportunity. I don't think the REST API is a high impact issue. The day that it's released in 4.7, I think people will remember when we got custom post types, and it was probably one of the most significant WordPress releases.
That was like 2.9, 3.0.
Yeah, I think so. We learned how to do all kinds of amazing things with that, and I think the REST API will be the same way. You're going to need to learn things.
Yep.
But we'll learn to do amazing things with it. And I think
it opens up what you can do. Just like with the custom post types made it possible to make all of these great solutions for people inside the dashboard that is really easy for them to manage and look fabulous, right? It just expands our ability to create solutions as opposed to just a website.
Exactly. And I think solutions are where everybody needs to point their thoughts. WordPress is a very code-centric, technical culture. And the more we start thinking about solutions and integrations, and, when you look around at what people are looking for, at least this year, I saw a marked shift in people really thinking beyond like a classic small business website where average isn't really the right word, but the typical customer, is having conversations with me about courses, podcasts, all of these different formats, membership. And that's new, for that to be a consistent thing. E-commerce, of course, it used to just be, I need a website. Now it's, I need a website that does, many things and supports all these different areas of my business. So exciting times, right?
I'm so sorry. Somebody just knocked on my door. I think they were selling candy bars, and that distracted me from the conversation. So let's see if there's any more questions on that. Did anybody else have any more comments on the REST API, or maybe even, I don't know, Rebecca, you're mentioning over in chat that you're having some of your customers or potential customers request those integrations. What kind of integrations are you mostly seeing requests for?
So I would say that, a year ago, we didn't do any, right? Part of it was because we didn't have a good skill set internally for it. And then we just didn't have that type of prospect and client base because we were more small business, which they don't, to my knowledge, they don't have a lot of usage for the API. But moving up into the mid-market space, which is in between small business and enterprise, they do have a lot. I mean, it's whether it's integrating to Google Maps for a large company that's got 300 locations everywhere, to wanting to integrate and create a portal and integrate into an ERP system, because in that situation, the client was they were too cheap to actually buy their ERP upgrade, and it was cheaper to have us create an API and pull the data to create a portal for their vendors. So, I mean, there's a lot more usages now that people know that it's possible, at least for us, because of the market that we deal in. And I can't tell you how anything does. They just make it happen. I just know I quote it, and
you have. Well, I think what you just said, that's a great point, that people understanding that is a possibility can now ask for it, or maybe they didn't even know to ask for it.
Well, they don't know what an API is, and they just know that they have an idea or they have a pain point, right? And so they say, well, here's our issue, here's our pain point. Can you solve it with WordPress? And I say to them, I can solve it with WordPress if we use an API and we integrate in. And for us, the struggle is not can we do it, it's helping them define the push and the pulls and what data is going back and forth, because they have not thought that through. They're just like, oh, well, let's just integrate. And they've not thought about, especially when you get to an ERP system, that they haven't thought about the complexities of that. But it's different conversations that I would have had a year ago or 2 years ago, which are much more fun conversations because it's just not the generic website of web pages and blog posts. You get to do a lot more fun things with it. Even like we're launching a website next week for Plixer.com, and they've got like all this funky, just great weird stuff going on inside their website because they're a tech company. We would never have had those conversations a couple of years ago because they wouldn't have embraced WordPress. So that, for us, that's a fun migration up, and having that exploration of what we can do. It's opened the floodgate.
Well, I'm going to piggyback that with a question from Gary J, and that's Gary Jones. And Matt, I'm going to aim it straight at you. Do you anticipate, because you're going to be at WordCamp US this year? Yeah?
I am. Yes.
Excellent. As will I and Rebecca. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Gary wants to know, do you suspect any surprise announcements from Matt at the annual State of the Word address?
There was an article that he was quoted in saying there was some surprise coming. I kind of lost sight of it maybe a couple weeks ago. If there is, I would say it would be my obvious guess would probably be something with maybe the native app and WooCommerce, right? Like something happening there in that sector, like controlling or adminning your WooCommerce driven store using their native app, maybe even a point of sale kind of thing. Maybe that'd probably be like my mid-level sort of theory. And then my far-reaching theory would be WordPress.org changes as we know it, and you actually, instead of downloading WordPress or instead of downloading latest.zip or latest.tar.gz, whatever you prefer, you're downloading some kind of onboarding utility. So native app, you install it and it connects to web hosting and you boot up your self-hosted WordPress through that. That's my far-reaching, guess. So I'd say something close would be something with WooCommerce.
All right. Anybody else want to speculate?
I think Matt's probably on the right track. I think some sort of connector model for WooCommerce, a la Jetpack.
I think it's going to be a new front end called Calypso. Just kidding. That was terrible. That was terrible.
Thanks for watching the show, everybody. You can get the show notes over at officehours.fm/.
Ba-boom. Okay, so here's the deal. I think we're having fun. All right, we're gonna carry on for a little bit over our 9 p.m. Eastern mark, our 1 hour mark. If you need to bail. We'll have the rest online for your replay enjoyment later. If you have questions, bring them on. We're still going to answer questions. Let's see. The last one I see in queue, and if I've missed one, I apologize. Marin Media asks, how do you or anyone deal with paid plugins when it comes to client usage? Obviously, if you purchase a professional type level of a plugin, you can use it on multiple sites, but that means your client site relies on you maintaining that purchase annually, assuming it's subscription based. Otherwise, the updates will stop. Matt, as someone who has a plugin, a subscription-based plugin, I'm gonna toss that one out to you.
Yeah, so I answered in the Slack channel. The first thing that you want to do as a consultant is to be as honest and open as possible to your client and let them know that this is actually probably an advantage to some, that let's say it's an add-on for WooCommerce for shopping cart abandonment, right? The last thing you want to do is tell your client like, I'll build that for $2,000, and then you go and you buy a plugin for $20, and then something happens with that $20 plugin. You have no idea how to fix it, and you're kind of stuck holding the ball. And they look at you, go, "You charged me $2,000 for that feature. I need you to fix it." In reality, you only paid $20. So be as open and as honest with your clients as possible. Let them know that, hey, this particular feature cost whatever, $100 as an add-on, and I'll implement it in this overall project fee. And then second, if they do move away from you, let them know that that developer license that maybe you, or the other route is you use a developer license, and then if they move away from you, you say, look, if you move away from my monthly support plan, you're on the hook for these 4 plugins. I remove my license, and you have to go and get direct support if you want. Third, you could avoid all of this confusion by just doing like having a page, a landing page for clients only that only they see, where you have affiliate links that direct out to these plugins that you use, and they have to go through the process of purchasing them, which I realize can be painful for some clients, but you get a affiliate commission. So you get a little coin on it. They realize that they're buying a plugin. They know that they have to be licensed. The credit card is attached to them. I do have one person who helps their customers buy Conductor from us. And it's sort of a pain in the neck because we have to go through and, she makes the purchase with the email. And then later on, we have to do a transfer over. Somebody registers a user account. It's just a pain point. Maybe it's just an EDD thing. So it's still a contention area, but I would say the best route, the cleanest route, is set up affiliate links and just get paid for it, right? And just let the customer know that they're on the hook for the yearly fee and the support directly from the plugin person.
Dang, I really can't. I mean, there's nothing else to add to that, or at least I don't have anything else to add to that.
I think it depends a little bit on. I mentally, I guess, put clients in different buckets. So there are clients who are going to work with you over years. and you have a relationship, partnership. I don't think a whole lot about how those plugins are licensed. Like, I'll happily use a developer license. On the other hand, if someone is coming to me for a small enhancement or a site that then they're going to manage independently, I make sure they buy their plugins, because I don't want to have any responsibility for anything. Even a simple forms plugin that might be under my developer license. Like, what if I just space, that renewal for a couple days, or, I just don't want to have that responsibility. So I think you have to look at your situations. And I think it's an area that really merits a lot more attention than it gets. A lot of situations are created where, just throw your developer plugin in there, and then, at some point in the future, there's a problem. I think the other thing that would be really nice is the way that you can transfer accounts in Hey Flywheel is kind of the ideal model.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is so beautiful. And I think it would be great if we could do that with more things. If I could buy, like Matt was saying, it's pain. If I could go buy things and then transfer them to clients, I would love that.
Yeah. So instead of saying, hey, here's a link, go click it, go buy it, you just order exactly what the client needs and then send them the bill via whatever the plugin is. I love that. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. So getting into the business side of things, I mean, we're entering into, we've now been back to school for a couple of months. We're coming off of summer. It's this crazy, unprecedented election time of year. And I want to talk about that, like how that's impacted business, or if that has impacted business. Rebecca, as well, I know we've got several agencies. We've got all agencies on the panel, but Rebecca, I'm going to kick that one to you first. How's that been for you?
So, we've got the service business that we do with mid-market, and then we've got the products that we have with your WordPress theme templates and, the SEO courses. So from a product standpoint, things are selling just like they have been, right? There's been no shift of any type. From a mid-market standpoint, we were actually really busy signing clients in June and July, which is our slow time, and which was a surprise. And then as typically we would be slow during the summer, pick up during September, October, and November. This fall we've been really slow from website design and bigger packages, which I swear is because of the election and people are uneasy. But the funny thing is SEO is fine, right? I just signed a client from WordCamp Ann Arbor, and they're local in the mid-market, and I've been sending out proposals for website design, but they're international. So a lot of that recent activity is international people who have no care about our election, or it's not going to directly impact them. So that's kind of where we've been. But for us, it's a good thing that we're very diversified, and I've always made sure we're very diversified between maintenance and custom work and and product sales, and then SEO consulting, so that if something does slow up for us, or we do have a little bit of a downturn in business, we're always healthy.
I think that diversification is a good point. You were calling just a short while ago when Britain was talking about the whole Brexit thing, like that caused some uncertainty in that market. And I think it was Remkus. It was either Remkus or Morton Rand Hendrickson that had an excellent post on that, but how that impacted companies in that region, either pulling out of contracts or being a little bit shy about going into contracts. And it's sort of one of those things, like you never know what's going to happen. And so to be able to have some diversified income streams, easier said than done. But
the interesting thing is I've been doing SEO for 15 years, and there's an ebb and flow of web traffic, right? And the leads you get off of the internet, and the various industries will have a little bit of different shifts, but there is definitely there's an ebb and flow, like most industries. February becomes really busy for website traffic and incoming leads, and that activity, because you're just after the holidays, you're after year end closing, and that's all good. And you're doing good in the spring. And then stuff starts to quiet down in summer because everybody's out and they're enjoying their time. And then you pick back up in fall. And then right around the end of the year, it gets slow because people are in Christmas. And the only people you have that are really active are those that went, holy crap, I had this plan for this year and I didn't get to it. Right. And for 15 years, that's been it. No matter what industry I've been helping with or working in, you've seen that kind of ebb and flow on internet and activity and leads, with some variations for industries, but still it's pretty consistent. This year, it's been totally just crazy. It's not followed that at all, which I think is just bizarre, but it is what it is. You just got to power through and do the best that you can and sell where you can.
Yeah, this has been a strange year. I mean, what I noticed kind of similarly over the last, I think we've had our business for 17 years at this point, was that there were defined periods similar to what Rebecca described. And then the last few years, there were no slow times whatsoever. Summer was just as busy. The holidays were super busy with marketing and sales and promotion, e-commerce. And then this year just got weird, super weird. Don't like it. Glad it's almost over.
Weird like our election weird?
Yeah.
I don't even want to go there because
don't talk politics. That'll bring us all down.
It's depressing.
It is.
That's why I'm drinking beer right now. I didn't drink before the elections this year. That's not really a true statement, but anyways, let's carry on. So I'm gonna give a couple more minutes here if anyone wants to give a shout out in the Slack channel or on Twitter if you've got a burning question in your heart that you want to ask this panel. In the meantime, just want to share a little bit about this upcoming season 3 and what you can expect, because it's very different from previous episodes and seasons of Office Hours FM. And that is this live show, like what we're doing right now. We're going to be doing that once a month. And it'll approximately be the first Thursday of the month. There may be a couple of months where it's the second Thursday when it's not a full week. And anyways, I'll be posting the schedule over at Office Hours FM. So a live show once a month. And then every single week, every Monday, I'm going to release a new episode to the RSS feed. That'll go over to iTunes or again over on OfficeHours.fm. I'll have that RSS link. So if whatever player you like to listen to, you'll be able to download that. And I know we're going a little longer than an hour tonight, but the weekly episodes will be unloading on you. That sounded weird. I'm going to back that up, but I can't back that up because it's live. Damn it. Those episodes will be shorter episodes, and I can edit out the things like I just said, and then we eliminate some of those awkward moments because of the power of modern audio editing tools. So let's see. We got a question. A question here. Are you seeing many clients wanting subscription sites? Is that a passing fad, or is that still a trend to come?
I think it's a trend to come. Probably the most common new conversation that we see.
Is that all you had to say about that?
That's yeah. Subscriptions. Yeah. Diane's coffee is wearing off.
I was going to say, I felt something like really serious coming on here, but yeah. All right. Well, Matt, I'll pass it to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of referrals from other plugins that either are similar to membership plugins or are membership plugins. And while there is a lot of interest out there, that same market, at least the ones that are coming to me from these sources, are not equipped to pay, right? Even at modest freelance rate that I'll quote some of them just to try to see if I could land one of these projects. A lot of them are just not prepared to pay for it. It's a lot of DIYers in that market, I think, being sold on membership sites or recurring revenue sites. So, hopefully that means that round of people coming into this, the ones that are successful in a year's time or 2 years' time, are ready to reinvest and bring it to another level. And maybe we'll see, repeat business that way. It's definitely an interesting space. One of the things that I wanted to mention about the last topic here about companies spending money, I've seen a lot of companies now, looking at WordPress and just trying to, I've seen marketing teams try to just do stuff themselves now, right? Versus just get a vendor like us and outsource it to us. I lost not a very big bid, but a $5,000 bid on a marketing, like a microsite for a marketing team. And I lost it because somebody on their marketing team found Divi and they said, we're just going to do this ourselves. And we're just going to build it ourselves using Divi. Now, I'm not here to discuss the tools, but the tools are getting easier, right? And they're getting more accessible. There's a ton of information on the web to learn how to do this stuff. And I think it's, for some freelancers and people that are at particular price points, you'll probably start to see the bottom end fall out a little bit from companies that would normally hire us and just bring it in-house and do it themselves, because hosting's better, hosting has more tools, page builders are getting easier, themes are everywhere. And there's a lot of education around that too, from folks like us. We're all our worst enemies.
From folks like us.
Have you had, Matt, people playing for audits and opinions where they want, instead of hiring you, they want to go implement it themselves? Because that's definitely, I've had clarity calls like that, and people, requesting it and buying my time to go through and discuss with me their options, and then they actually just kind of go off and do it their own because, like you said, there's a lot of tools available now that they can do more DIY and they don't need to hire a firm.
Let me tell you something. Absolutely. And it's because of all the tools that are available. So a perfect example is I had somebody come to me with a balsamic sketch with designs up in InVision app, the whole sort of sitemap planned out in Trello, and then all of the plugins that they want to use, right? And this is like marketing person trying to launch a product, and they have all the stuff planned out as we would do as project management part of a project like that. And they just said, look at all this stuff, tell me if it makes sense, and that's what we want to pay you for. And that's definitely, but that's, to me, it's always been something where we've been warning other freelancers that WordPress is not the magic bullet to your business, right? It's the consulting, the support, and all of the other knowledge that you bring into it. And now I'm really starting to see that become more true than ever at the lower scale.
Good discussion, guys. I think that for people on for Gary Jones, I know he's staying up way into the wee hours, and even on the East Coast, it's getting low. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But for you guys who tuned in live, I have always deeply appreciated the live audience. It's so much fun to get questions and to be able to interact live. And of course, thank you to our panel, which I'm gonna ask you a question here in a sec. But if you are not getting the newsletter reminding you about when OfficeHours.fm is coming up and new episodes, head over to OfficeHours.fm/subscribe, or just follow on Twitter at OfficeHours.fm, and you'll be able to keep up with that. I would love to keep up with you. And if any of you who are listening to this show are going to be at WordCamp US, I will be there. Several people on this panel will be here. Would love to say hello in person. Shoot me an email at hello@officehours.fm, and just let me know you're going to be there, and then I'll arrange a secret rendezvous. That's not really secret because that's weird. Okay, and on Wow. And before I ask my panel,
Listen, I had a secret rendezvous last year. It wasn't what everybody's thinking. Okay?
Yeah, it's really true. Gosh, I would so like to thank my sponsors for this episode, SEO Bootcamp. Check them out at SEObootcamp.com. And Beaver Builder, check them out, cdills.me/beaverbuilds. And guys, this podcast, for anyone that podcast, Matt, I know that you're definitely in this boat. It's work, and I'm not complaining because it's work that I truly, truly enjoy. But sponsors give me the ability to do things like editing the show, hiring someone to help me with show notes, do the graphics for the show, do the things that I am not very good at doing. So that is terribly important. So I so thank the sponsors for helping support the show, and would appreciate you just sending them a little tweet love or clicking on one of the links I mentioned. And with that, let's wrap up with the panel here. So Diane and Matt and Rebecca, just so you can have this information on hand. I know it's late, but Diane, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, easily, Kinney. I have a blog at DianeKinney.com, realworldfreelancing.com, the book.
Pimping it. Matt, how about you?
I'd like everybody to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/plugintut. It's plugintut.com. That's where you can find me.
Awesome. Rebecca Gill?
You can find me at RebeccaGill.com, and that will link to all my web properties, and you can just read things about me that you probably didn't want to know.
He has web properties, y'all. That's like real estate.
I'm like Donald Trump, really.
And I am your faithful and loving host, and you can find this replay available at OfficeHours.fm, and be on the lookout. New episode drops in just a few days this Monday, and if you're on the subscriber list at OfficeHours.fm/subscribe, you will receive a personal email on that. So thanks everybody for tuning in live, and for those of you who are listening after the fact, I appreciate y'all too, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.